That's the name of the team that is going to be paying so much money. The Minnesota Wild have signed Kirill Kaprizov to a record-breaking 8-year, $136 million contract that is $17 million per season against the cap for 8 years. Let's talk about it. Trying to figure out what a player is going to sign for has been harder and harder and harder since we found out that the cap is going to go up and up and up. Finally, for the first time in forever because of COVID. We thought we were going to find out this summer with Marner. He was going to go to unrestricted free agency. He was going to go to the highest bidder. That didn't happen. He technically signed his 8-year contract extension with the Leafs, and then they traded him to the Vegas Golden Knights. 8-year deal, $12 million per season. Now, that's a lot of money, but it's probably a lot less than he could have gotten in the open market, but we'll never know. So we didn't get that frenzy like we got years ago with John Tavares. We don't know what he would have signed for as a star player who's a UFA. What we did get in July was some signals that he probably could have got a lot more. Christian Dvorak signs for over 5. What? Kevin Ball and Nick Hague and even Provorov's contract? Holy cow. What? Provorov's fine. Is he $8.5 million fine? I'm not sure about that one. If you got a guy or guys on your team who are under contract right now and it goes into the future, you're in a good spot because this is taking off like a rocket. Connor McDavid was the highest paid player in the NHL, making $12.5 million. Nathan MacKinnon became the highest paid player in the NHL, making $12.6 million. Austin Matthews, $13.25 million. There's the new standard. And then Leon Draisaitl signs his contract extension for $14 million per season. Now, once this contract for Kirill Kaprizov kicks in next season, he will be the highest paid player in the NHL, making $17 million per season against the cap. And what's hilarious about that is he might not be the highest paid player in the NHL, despite breaking a record for the most expensive contract ever. Because unless he signs a contract extension with the Edmonton Oilers, Connor McDavid will become an unrestricted free agent this summer. And he can sign for more than Kirill Kaprizov if he wants to. Next season, Kaprizov is going to make $17 million against the cap. The salary cap ceiling is going to be $104 million. The maximum amount of money you can sign a player to is 20% of the cap. So for example, Kirill Kaprizov just signed for $17 million. That is 16.4% of the salary cap. If Connor McDavid were to sign for the maximum amount of money that he can, that is $20.8 million against the salary cap. Now, you also want to have teammates, and good ones. And also, this video isn't about Connor McDavid, it's about Kirill Kaprizov, but just keep that in your pocket there. Now here's the thing, I listed a bunch of players. Connor McDavid, Nathan MacKinnon, Austin Matthews, Leon Draisaitl, and now it's Kirill Kaprizov as the highest paid players in the NHL by salary cap hit. There is a very select group of players who you would even consider making them the highest paid player in the NHL. I think the list is maximum a dozen. Maximum. The number's probably closer to 6. And you might not know this, but Kirill Kaprizov is 100% one of them. Since Kirill Kaprizov's second season in the NHL, which is the 2021-22 season, he's tied for 5th in the NHL in points per game with Austin Matthews. The only players ahead of him are McDavid, Kucherov, MacKinnon, and Draisaitl. If you just isolate the past 2 seasons, Kaprizov is 6th in points per game, behind Kucherov, McDavid, MacKinnon, Draisaitl, and Pasternak. Dude, that Pasternak deal's looking nuts. Over the past 2 seasons, Kirill Kaprizov is 3rd amongst forwards in time on ice per game, behind only Nathan MacKinnon and Mikko Rantanen. And for most of the time, when MacKinnon was out there, Rantanen was out there, and when Rantanen was out there, MacKinnon was out there. While Kirill Kaprizov wrecked shop with his band of merry men. Over the past 2 seasons, Kirill Kaprizov is tied for 2nd in the NHL in goals per game, with Leon Draisaitl. The only player ahead of them is Austin Matthews. He's also 8th in shots per game over the past 2 seasons. Like I said, there is a very select group of people you should even consider giving this money to, but Kirill Kaprizov is definitely one of them. Here's what I think is crazy. Kirill Kaprizov, a few weeks ago, was rumored to have turned down a deal that was 8 years, $16 million per season. And we said, wow, he turned down what? And we were like, what? What's he squeezing the Minnesota Wild for? What's he going to end up signing for? Like 16 and a quarter, 16 and a half? It turns out $16 million per season wasn't even really close. I mean, the difference between 136 million and 128 million, I think anyone watching this video right now will take either of those options. But Kaprizov and his representation got the Minnesota Wild to up their offer by $8 million in a matter of 2 weeks? He's going to make $3 million per year more than Leon Draisaitl, and Draisaitl only signed his deal a year ago. He's going to make $5 million more than Mikko Rantanen, who signed his deal months ago. This is a very, very, very expensive deal, and it has the spotlight right now. I think people's imaginations are going to run wild with Connor McDavid and his pending free agency. If McDavid signs for $1 less than this, wow, is it going to turn up the heat on Kaprizov and especially Bill Guerin and the Minnesota Wild. It also makes the report that McDavid was considering signing for $14 million per season in Edmonton laughable. And I tell you what, if he does do that, if McDavid does agree to even $50 million against the cap, he should be the first player to be able to play in an arena that already has a statue of him out front. So, with regard to the Minnesota Wild, can they afford this? The answer is surprisingly, kinda. As it stands right now, because this Kaprizov contract doesn't come into effect until next year, the Wild already have a hair under $5.2 million in cap space. Matt Boldy makes $7 million. That's really good. Joel Eriksson-Ek makes $5.25. That's really good. Even the Marco Rossi deal at $5 is great. Brock Faber at $8.5 is looking really good. You might have some problems in net coming up. Philip Gustafsson is a pending UFA, and Jesper Wallstedt, trust me, he's going to be good and he's going to get a raise. But Zuccarello and Tarasenko are going to come off the books. There's $9 million right there. The cap is going to go up by another $8.5 million. They don't have a second round pick for the next 2 seasons, but they have their first round pick for each of the next 3. Are the Wild in a bit of a window here? Now, here's the risk, and I mean a big risk. Obviously, if you sign a player to $17 million per season, they have to live up to it. There is no reason to assume that Kirill Kaprizov will not live up to this deal. He has been incredible in every season that he has played. The big problem has been health. He's only played over 80 games in an NHL season once, which is a little unfair because he only missed 1 game in his rookie season, and that was a shortened season. He had 25 goals and 56 points in just 41 games last season, but 41 games is half a season. But then when the playoffs showed up, the Wild only lasted 6 games. Kaprizov had 5 goals and 9 points in those games. They gotta win a series with this guy. He's played 7, 6, 6, and 6 games in the playoffs. 15 goals in 25 games. He only played 41 games last season, still finished 3rd on the Wild in scoring behind 2 players who played 82. Needless to say, he's important to the team. They need him to play. They need a number of things. They need other guys who can be his tag team partner. Other guys who can be dependent on with him. You're not going to win a Stanley Cup just as a one-man army. That's not sustainable. Yeah, it's a good idea to have a good first line, or you could be the Florida Panthers who are like, what if we just had 3 of those? He had a long-term injury last year. He's had hip issues. This is an 8-year deal. This is going to take it into his to late 30s. I think 36 is mid-30s. I also think 37 is your early 30s, but I digress. This deal is nuts. I don't know on what planet this deal would ever be a discount. Immediately, even though he's got the 2nd highest cap hit in the NHL next season so far, Leon Draisaitl's $14 million looks incredible. Austin Matthews at 3.25, even though it's for not as much term as Draisaitl or Kaprizov, that doesn't look bad either. Marner at 12, Rantanen at 12, all right. Pasternak Less than that? Willie Nylander at less than that? What wizard tricked Nikita Kucherov into signing a deal paying him $9.5? This past July, was whispers that salaries were about to pop off in the NHL. This Kirill Kaprizov contract is the NHL and the NHLPA screaming it from the rooftops that contracts are about to explode. And the Minnesota Wild are about to go in one of two directions, up or down. Because I don't think you sign a player to $17 million and stay still. What do you think? Let me know in the comment box down below. And for now, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell your friends. Guess we got some stuff to talk about in tomorrow's brand new Steve Dangle podcast.